So this video is different than what I normally do. So this video I'm going to be talking about skipping meals and why it's harmful, and why it's a form of starving yourself, and just my experience with it and how it's actually counterproductive. Because I know, like, in my videos, like, I kind of, like, talk about, like, oh, like, I didn't eat lunch in one of the videos, and then the other one, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna, like, my dad's saying about dinner, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine, or, like, I'll eat in the car. So I realized that me just kind of, like, saying those things about myself can come across almost like, oh, if I'm doing that, then, like, maybe other people should too, which I definitely am not trying, wasn't intending for it to come across like that. But I got a comment with someone saying, like, you're helping me already, I don't want to eat breakfast. And then it hit me, I'm like, wait, me talking about, like, my eating disorder symptoms and, like, what I'm doing sometimes, like, that's, like, maybe, like, normalizing it, which I'm not trying to do. And yeah, so I definitely just don't recommend it, and this is why. So the thing is with me, when I restrict, like that day when I skipped lunch, like, I was able to starve myself for a certain amount of time. Then at some point, my body just got so hungry, so I ended up eating. And then I ended up eating, like, a lot, and just, like, more than I would have if I would have just eaten balanced throughout the day. And part of why I struggle with binge eating is because of, like, not eating enough. And, like, there was this one day, and I skipped breakfast, and then I ate a small lunch, and then I ate, like, a little bit. I was starving myself, but I ended up binge eating. It's like I have, like, I think, like, oh, I'm doing so good, like, I have this willpower, like, oh, I'm gonna, like, like, lose weight. But that way of doing it just doesn't work. And it's like starving yourself isn't sustainable, because I know from my experience with starving myself. And I used to do it much more, and I didn't binge, and I was able to just, like, not binge. But then at some point, from starving myself from so long, and just, like, the sudden weight loss, which this was not, like, recently, this was more like last year, like 2 years ago. I don't know, it's hard to keep track of the whole eating disorder thing. But, because, like, also, like, with my weight and my journey with my eating disorder, it's been very rapid, just with my body changing a lot, so it's hard to keep track. But I was able to starve myself and exercise a ton for a long time, and then I just couldn't do it anymore, and I just binge and binge. And when I say binge, not on drugs or that, like, food. Never had a drug problem or, like, that type of stuff, but I've struggled with food. And my eating disorder, it started, like, now I'm 19. It started, like, I really started actually, like, doing some, like, just, like, the behaviors and the mindset. It started 2020, so it was 6 years ago. It started, like, the reason I even started initially exercising was like I thought it was fat, and I was like, I want to lose belly fat. And but the eating disorder behaviors and like the over exercising and stuff started like the summer of COVID. But the skipping meals and that started for me because now I'm 19. I'm not doing a summer semester in college now. I decided not to take a class. But so I finished my freshman year of college. I'm gonna go on a gap year program. I graduated high school 2025. So 2024, yeah, that was when my senior year started. My eating disorder started like to get really bad, and just like the restricting. And I didn't even realize when I started skipping dinner that there was even a problem with it. I thought it was fine. And so I wish I had someone in the beginning to tell me and explain to me why not to, and why the skipping meals, because once you get in it, it's so much harder. But the sooner it gets like taken care of, control over, then the less hard it is. Like this doctor was saying, the quicker you recover, the easier it is to move forward. But I wanted to lose weight, and I was dealing with a lot of trauma, and I started a new school, and previously I was bullied. I had instances of bullying and related to my weight. And my life coach, she didn't tell me to starve myself, but she was like, one time in our session, this was like the summer 2024, she was like, the reason you're tired is because you're eating before bed and your body is digesting the food the whole night, and that's why you're tired, which actually wasn't true. She does not even know what she's talking about, because it's actually okay to eat before bed, and that was just harmful advice. And I have I have OCD, so I obsess about things. And then I take things like out of proportion, and then I kind of like, once I heard that, and I started exercising more, like a lot. That was another sign of the eating disorder, just like crazy increase in exercise. And it wasn't my life coach's fault. I'm not blaming her. But I started to think that, which is how I interpreted it, my own thought process. So, like I said, so I'd go to the gym late, and I'd exercise a lot. And then I wasn't very organized, so the time, and like with my like OCD, so by the time I'd get home, it would be like later than 9. My ideal bedtime was 11. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna eat after 9. So then I wouldn't eat dinner, wouldn't eat anything after exercising. And I was able to do that. You know, like I was able to do that and starve myself. Then eventually, like the doctor was just concerned, and like, you need to start eating dinner. And I was having issues with feeling cold because I wasn't getting enough nutrients. And I started eating like a lot of like healthy food. And it wasn't like binge eating. I was just so hungry. But then, as time went on, and it started getting more into like 2025, I would just binge eat so much because my body was so deprived of nutrients that I just kept on eating and eating, and I ended up gaining, like a lot of the weight back, like more than, like much faster than I initially even started before starving myself. Like, it went like all the way up from like a while. And it's really not about the weight, but starving yourself isn't sustainable, and it eventually backfires. Because it's just like your body just can't like take that anymore. Your body just constantly wants food, and it just becomes at some point just so hard not to like eat, and then because you're so calorie deficient, you just eat so much. And the thing is too, is with starving yourself, I'm doing a lot of research because of my eating disorder, which I'm still struggling with and in recovery. But when you starve yourself, like there's a certain hormone that I'm kind of like, I don't know the exact research, but it kind of like messes with a certain kind of hormone and hunger fullness thing, and with being able to kind of like know when you're hungry or like your appetite, so then it suppresses it or something, and then eventually like the ghrelin or something ends up getting so heightened that then you just feel like just so hungry, and then it's like you don't really know when you're full, and then just like the damage and undoing it, like it's just really hard. So if you feel like starving yourself, and if you feel like it's a good idea, the sooner you speak back to those eating disorder thoughts, because they are. I didn't know much about eating disorders and just this type of stuff till more recently. I've been more informed, but those are like the thoughts, and kind of like those habits lead to eating disorders. And because of my struggles and my past, just like what I've been through, and I'm still struggling, I don't want anyone else to struggle like I've struggled and how I struggle. And the best thing you can do, and which is what I'm working on now, because I struggle with binge eating, and I know in my videos I'm like, oh, like I didn't eat lunch, like I'm dizzy. I ended up binge eating that day. Like, I didn't go back and make another video being like, I binge ate on all this food and I ate so much and I felt so sick that I kept eating. No, because I feel shame about that. But in my mind, I think like, oh, starving yourself, like, oh, like, there's nothing to be shamed about. Like, oh, like I have those eating disorder thoughts, which my dietitian was very concerned about. So that's why I also say, like, when I'm talking about what I was doing, that know that when I speak like those thoughts, like in those videos, it's not from a rational place. So I have a lot of great advice and a lot of things I do. Like, yes, I would totally be like, yeah, like, I think it'll help, and then it's great advice. But when I talked about, oh, I skip lunch, I don't recommend it. And it's not something I regularly do anyways, so but I just know when I do starve myself, it doesn't go well. Not now either. So the best thing is to focus on eating 3 consistent meals, and that's what I'm working on. I didn't skip any meals today. I had breakfast, then I went to martial arts, and I went out with my dad, and I had lunch, and I ate until I was satisfied. And then I was feeling really hungry before this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna starve myself, and I ate something. And I have a reminder to eat dinner, and even though I don't feel like I have an appetite, I know that if I don't eat dinner now or I don't eat enough, then I'm gonna have this huge appetite and very likely binge in the night, which is something I struggle with a lot. So I kind of I made like a cope ahead plan, which I can share more about that in other videos. But yeah, so eating snacks is also important. I started working with a dietitian who works with people with eating disorders, and it's been like so helpful. I mean, my dietitian's really on my case. She's like, it's hard because she'll like tell me like, you shouldn't be doing, and I'm like, my eating disorder is like, I want you to be agreeing with me, but no, she's there to get me into shape. And yes, I know that I have a friend with an eating disorder, and she said to me, well, she's like much older than me. She's like 26. We don't really talk anymore because she's struggling and she's not very like reliable. But when we last spoke, she was saying the reason I started making myself throw up because she has bulimia is because she knew Demi Lovato was doing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like become this like YouTube person. And definitely, I wouldn't say I'm like super famous, but I feel like I am. Like I feel like I'm becoming famous. Like every day I'm getting like just more subscribers. Like my YouTube channel is growing rapidly. Like that one video like has like 19K. Like that's crazy. So I definitely don't want to spread any unhelpful messages or influence in any bad way, because I just want to help people. And I know that my eating disorder, it's not helping me, and it hasn't gotten me the life I want. And I know through me working through it and overcoming this, then I can help other people. And one day, which is going to happen, when I've overcome this and I'm in a completely different place, then I'm going to be filming a different video talking about how I overcame my eating disorder and my journey. But right now I'm still on that journey. And as I'm on this journey, which I'm very devoted to with like helping people, because it's like, I need to film this video. Like I kept worrying about it. A different story about how I started weighing myself constantly. But in this video, because I'm talking about eating disorders, I'm saying goodbye to the scale. So my eating disorder story is, there's people out there. My eating disorder story is very long, so getting into that another time. Take a long time. But my obsession with weight and my eating disorder, like, it's become really bad. I wouldn't say bad. I'd say, because my therapist was saying it's not necessarily good or bad, but I'd say very problematic. So it's gotten very severe, where I even took the scale from my parents' room and put it under my bed. And I've been weighing myself every day. Almost every day, and like multiple times. So my dietitian's like, don't weigh yourself. My dad's like, I should take the scale and like put it somewhere else. And I'm like, it's become a comfort for me. But I am making the choice, even though it's hard, that I know that weighing myself it's not getting me anywhere. It's not helping me. Just like those eating disorder behaviors with like starving myself. And I know in the beginning I wasn't doing that, just like I wasn't starving myself in the beginning. So I'm putting the scale by my parents' room, and they're gonna remove it. And I'm not gonna buy my own scale because I don't like to spend any unnecessary money. But they're gonna get rid of it. They do not like me weighing myself because they know it's problematic, and they also don't like me starving myself. So yes, anyone who's watching this, if you know you're struggling and struggle with eating disorder, kind of behavior, thoughts, or just any mental health struggles, like, no, you're not alone in that. Everyone's fighting their own battles, and no one's perfect. Even though sometimes we see people and we idealize them, and they're like, they're so perfect, like, oh my gosh, like, I just want to do what they're doing. Or like, someone's famous, they're like, oh, they're like, because like in Olivia Rodrigo and her song, like, she talks about how she skips lunch, and I'm like, it's Olivia Rodrigo, but like, she struggles. Like, she's not gonna say it, but she definitely has eating disorder symptoms and behaviors. And I don't know if I'd say eating disorder, but because of my experience and my research. So when you realize that, like, even though someone's like an influencer, that it's important to use your own kind of logic and your own research to figure out like what's really healthy, and that people like can have good advice in some ways and be good influence in some ways, and other ways be like, they're doing that, and I definitely don't think that's something good to copy. I'm trying not to use the word good or bad, because like my therapist was saying, like, it's not necessarily good or bad, but it's better not to maybe do that. So I just filmed this video. I feel pretty nervous putting myself out there and just being so vulnerable, but like, overall, like, I've just received so much just like positive, encouraging like statements from you guys. So yes, I just want to help, and I appreciate everyone. So